During the golden age of Hollywood, actors lived like royalty. Their mansions were symbols of power, wealth, and fame. But as time passed, many of these stars faded away, and so did their homes. Behind the grand gates and decaying walls, these empty estates whisper secrets of a bygone era. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks, Pickfair Mansion. Pickfair was more than just a home, it was the ultimate symbol of old Hollywood royalty. Built in the 1910s, this Beverly Hills estate became legendary when Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks, two of the most famous silent film stars, moved in after their marriage. Nicknamed the White House of Hollywood, it welcomed presidents, royalty, and movie icons such as Charlie Chaplin and Greta Garbo. At its peak, Pickfair was the center of Hollywood's social scene, filled with glamorous parties and endless luxury. But after the couple's deaths, the mansion lost its glory. Left abandoned, it fell into disrepair before being demolished in the 1990s. Today, Pickfair survives only in photographs, a haunting reminder of Hollywood's golden age. Bela Lugosi's Hollywood Hills home. Bela Lugosi, the legendary actor best known for his unforgettable role as Count Dracula, once lived in a Gothic-style mansion in the Hollywood Hills. The house perfectly reflected his dark, mysterious on-screen persona, with grand staircases, shadowy halls, and an eerie atmosphere. At the height of his fame, the estate was a symbol of his success. But as his career declined and personal struggles grew, the mansion slowly slipped into neglect. Left abandoned, it began to crumble, with broken windows, peeling walls, and a haunting silence that seemed to echo his tragic downfall. Many visitors and fans believe the house carries a ghostly presence, making it one of the creepiest abandoned homes tied to old Hollywood legends. Howard Hughes' deserted estate. Howard Hughes, the eccentric billionaire, aviator, and film producer, lived a life filled with mystery, wealth, and scandal. Among his many properties, one Beverly Hills mansion became a haunting symbol of his reclusive lifestyle. In his prime, the estate was lavish, filled with luxury and the finest architecture money could buy. But as Hughes withdrew from public life, consumed by paranoia and isolation, the mansion was left to decay. For decades, it sat abandoned, windows broken, gardens overgrown, and rooms collecting dust. Neighbors whispered about strange happenings, adding to its eerie reputation. The once glorious home of one of Hollywood's most powerful men eventually became nothing more than a forgotten shell, reflecting the tragic decline of its famous owner. Charlie Chaplin's forgotten villa. Charlie Chaplin, one of the greatest icons of silent cinema, once owned a beautiful villa in Beverly Hills. During the height of his career, the estate was alive with charm, hosting intimate gatherings filled with laughter, music, and creativity. The home reflected Chaplin's genius and his larger-than-life personality, becoming a sanctuary where he could escape the pressures of Hollywood. However, after Chaplin's departure from the United States and years of changing ownership, the villa slowly fell into decline. Left neglected, it became a shadow of its former glory, with cracked walls, overgrown gardens, and empty halls that once echoed with joy. Today, the forgotten villa stands as a bittersweet reminder of Chaplin's brilliance and the fading glamour of old Hollywood. Errol Flynn's Mulholland Farm. Errol Flynn, the legendary star of Robin Hood and one of Hollywood's most notorious playboys, lived in a sprawling estate known as Mulholland Farm. Built in the 1940s, the mansion became famous for Flynn's extravagant parties, secret passageways, and a hedonistic lifestyle that mirrored his screen persona. The home included lavish rooms, hidden bars, and even private screening areas. After Flynn's death in 1959, the estate passed through multiple owners but was gradually left to decay. By the 1980s, it was a haunting shell, with collapsed ceilings, shattered windows, and graffiti covering its once glamorous walls. Urban explorers described the eerie silence and remnants of Flynn's excess. Though later demolished, Mulholland Farm remains one of Hollywood's most infamous abandoned mansions. Judy Garland's Brentwood Mansion. Judy Garland, forever remembered as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, once lived in a stunning Brentwood mansion that reflected her extraordinary career and personal struggles. At its peak, the house was filled with music, laughter, and family moments, serving as a glamorous escape from the pressures of Hollywood. But behind the scenes, Garland faced financial troubles and battles with addiction, which ultimately forced her to leave the property. After her departure, the mansion stood abandoned for years, with cracked walls, overgrown gardens, and empty rooms that seemed to mirror her tragic decline. Though eventually restored by new owners, the haunting period of neglect turned Garland's home into a silent reminder of the darker side of old Hollywood fame. Jean Harlow's Los Angeles home. Jean Harlow, Hollywood's original blonde bombshell, lived in a glamorous Los Angeles mansion with her husband, MGM producer Paul Byrne. But in 1932, the house became infamous when Byrne was found dead under mysterious circumstances, sparking rumors of murder, scandal, and curses. Just a few years later, Harlow herself tragically died at only 26, deepening the mansion's dark reputation. After her passing, the property stood largely abandoned, its once luxurious halls empty and lifeless. Locals whispered about ghostly figures, strange sounds, and an eerie atmosphere surrounding the home. Over time, the mansion fell into visible decay, with peeling paint, broken fixtures, and an unsettling silence. To this day, Harlow's former residence is remembered as one of Hollywood's most haunted abandoned homes. James Dean's Hollywood apartment mansion. James Dean, the rebellious star of Rebel Without a Cause, lived briefly in a Hollywood property that blended apartment-style comfort with the grandeur of a mansion. At the height of his career, it was a stylish retreat where he sketched, read, and entertained close friends. But after his tragic car accident in 1955, the residence was left abandoned, almost frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture, torn wallpaper, and cracked ceilings gave the place an eerie atmosphere, as if waiting for its owner to return. Fans often sneaked inside, leaving flowers, photos, and notes in tribute. Over the years, the property crumbled further, turning into a haunting relic that symbolized Dean's meteoric rise, untimely death, and lasting Hollywood legacy. Marilyn Monroe's last home. Marilyn Monroe's Brentwood home, purchased in 1962, was the only house she ever owned by herself. This charming Spanish-style mansion, with its red-tiled roof and peaceful garden, was meant to be a fresh start for the troubled star. Tragically, just months later, Monroe was found dead in one of its bedrooms, forever linking the property to her untimely passing. In the years that followed, the home became a site of fascination for fans and the curious. Left neglected at times, the once bright estate showed signs of decay, faded walls, broken tiles, and an eerie silence. Though it has been restored, the haunting period of abandonment made Monroe's last home a symbol of both her beauty and her tragic destiny. Clark Gable's Encino Mansion. Clark Gable, forever remembered as the King of Hollywood and star of Gone with the Wind, once lived in a magnificent ranch-style mansion in Encino. Spread across sprawling acres, the estate included horse stables, orchards, and wide verandas that reflected Gable's love of both country living and Hollywood luxury. It was here that he shared his happiest years with actress Carole Lombard, hosting gatherings filled with laughter and romance. But after Lombard's tragic death in a 1942 plane crash, the mansion became a place of sorrow. Gable, heartbroken, found little comfort within its grand halls. Over the decades, the property changed owners, but much of its glamour faded. Left neglected, the once lively ranch became overgrown and broken down, its empty stables and cracked walls a haunting symbol of love lost. Though parts were restored later, the estate's abandoned years echo as one of Hollywood's most poignant stories. Greta Garbo's Beverly Hills Retreat. Greta Garbo, one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars, became famous not only for her unforgettable performances in films like Anna Karenina and Camille but also for her reclusive personality. At the height of her fame in the 1930s, she purchased a quiet Beverly Hills retreat hidden behind tall hedges and iron gates. Unlike the showy estates of many of her peers, Garbo's mansion reflected her mysterious aura, elegant yet understated, with sunlit rooms, manicured gardens, and serene spaces designed for solitude. She rarely entertained more than a handful of trusted friends, using the house as an escape from Hollywood's relentless spotlight. When Gable retired from acting in the 1940s and later relocated permanently to New York, her California home was abandoned. Without care, the once beautiful retreat fell into decline. Vines crept over stone walls, gates rusted shut, and dust settled over empty rooms. Neighbors described the property as haunting, an eerie echo of the woman who had once lived there. Strangely, its silence seemed to mirror Gable's most famous words, "I want to be alone." Today, though renovated, the memory of its abandonment endures, serving as a symbol of her elusive nature and the vanishing grandeur of old Hollywood.